The transport ship shook as it entered the atmosphere of Krell 7. Captain Hyunwoo gripped the safety rail and watched the planet grow larger through the viewport. The world below was covered in red dust and broken cities. This was a war zone. The Krellians had attacked this planet 6 months ago, and now it was mostly empty. "Captain, we're approaching the research station," said Lieutenant Ji-won from the pilot seat. She was young but skilled. Her hands moved quickly over the controls. Hyunwoo nodded. "Good. Keep your eyes open. The area should be clear, but we can't be sure." Behind him, 4 soldiers checked their weapons. Corporal Minho loaded his rifle with practiced ease. Specialist Soo-jin adjusted her scanner equipment. Private Tae-yang looked nervous. This was only his 3rd mission. The 4th soldier, Private Dong-woo, stared out the window without expression. The mission was simple. Go to the old research station, recover the classified equipment, get out fast. The station had been abandoned when the Krellians invaded. Everyone evacuated in a hurry. They left behind important technology that the Coalition needed. The ship landed in a cloud of red dust. The landing pad was cracked and covered in debris. Pieces of broken buildings lay everywhere. The research station stood before them like a dead thing. Its windows were dark. The main door hung open. "Scanners show no life signs," Ji-won reported. "The building appears empty." "Appears," Hyunwoo repeated. He did not like that word. "Stay sharp, everyone. Minho, Tae-yang, you're with me. Soo-jin, Dong-woo, secure the perimeter. Ji-won, keep the engines ready." The soldiers moved out. The air outside was thin and cold. Hyunwoo's breath made small clouds inside his helmet. They walked toward the station entrance, weapons raised. The silence was heavy. No birds, no wind, just the sound of boots on broken concrete. Inside, the station was dark. Emergency lights flickered weakly. Papers and equipment lay scattered across the floor. Someone had left in a hurry. Very fast. Hyunwoo saw a coffee cup on a desk still half full. The coffee had turned to mold. "Split up," Hyunwoo ordered. "Search every room. Find the equipment storage." Minho went left. Tae-yang went right. Hyunwoo moved down the main corridor. His flashlight cut through the darkness. He passed empty offices, a cafeteria with food still on the tables, a medical bay with supplies thrown everywhere. Then he heard something. A sound. Very faint. Like metal scraping on metal. Hyunwoo stopped. He raised his weapon. "Minho, Tae-yang, report, did you hear that?" "Negative, Captain," Minho replied through the radio. "Nothing here," said Tae-yang. The sound came again. It was below him. From the lower levels. Hyunwoo found a stairwell and started down. The stairs were dark. His boots echoed. Down 1 level. 2 levels. 3 levels. At the bottom he found a sealed door. Someone had welded metal bars across it. From inside, the door had been barricaded from the other side. "This is Captain Hyunwoo of the Galactic Defense Coalition," he called out. "Is someone in there?" Silence. Then movement. Footsteps approaching the door. "Go away," a voice said. A man. He spoke in Korean with a tired accent. "This area is off limits. I'm ordering you to open this door," Hyunwoo said firmly. "We're here to evacuate remaining personnel." "I'm not leaving." Hyunwoo felt frustration rise in his chest. "That's not your choice. Open the door. That's an order." "I don't take orders from you." "Who are you?" A pause. "Sergeant Dae-hyun, Combat Engineer Corps." "And I said go away." Hyunwoo called his team. "I found someone. Lower level 3. Bring cutting equipment." 10 minutes later, Minho and Tae-yang arrived with a plasma cutter. The metal bars glowed red, then white, then fell away. Hyunwoo pushed the door open. Inside was a man. He looked thin and tired. His uniform was dirty. Dark circles surrounded his eyes. He had not shaved in weeks, but he stood straight, holding a rifle pointed at the floor. "Sergeant Dae-hyun," Hyunwoo said. "I'm Captain Hyunwoo. What are you doing here?" "My job," Dae-hyun replied simply. Your job was to evacuate with everyone else. That was 6 months ago. I had responsibilities. The base is abandoned. The war moved to other sectors. You're the last person here. You need to leave. Dae-hyun shook his head. I can't do that. Hyun-woo's patience was running thin. Outside, enemy scouts could arrive at any moment. They needed to complete the mission and leave. This stubborn engineer was wasting time. That's not a request, Sergeant. You're coming with us. No. Why not? Dae-hyun looked at him for a long moment. His eyes were tired but determined. Because they need me. They? Who are they? Instead of answering, Dae-hyun turned and walked deeper into the lower level. Hyun-woo followed, his soldiers behind him. They entered what looked like a storage area. But it had been modified. Someone had set up a living space, a sleeping bag in the corner, supplies stacked neatly, equipment for cooking, water purifiers. Then Hyun-woo saw the sealed doors. 6 doors along one wall. Each one had a small window, and behind each window, he saw movement. What is this? Hyun-woo demanded. Dae-hyun walked to the first door. He pressed his hand against the window. Something pressed back from the other side. Something small. The research station wasn't just for military technology, Dae-hyun explained quietly. They also studied the Krellian species, trying to understand them. They had subjects here. Test subjects. Hyun-woo felt cold spread through his stomach. Prisoners? No. Not prisoners. Dae-hyun looked at him. Children. He unlocked the first door. Inside was a small room, clean, warm, and in the center, a small creature looked up at them. It had gray-blue skin, large eyes, 4 arms, a tail that wrapped around its body. A Krellian child. A cub. It could not have been more than 3 years old. Hyun-woo stepped back. You've been guarding enemy children? They're not enemy children, Dae-hyun said firmly. They're just children. How many? 12. Hyun-woo's radio crackled. Captain, we're picking up movement on scanners, Ji-won reported. Krellian patrol, approximately 3 kilometers and closing. Copy that. We're coming up. Hyun-woo looked at Dae-hyun. We need to leave now. I'm not leaving them. You don't have a choice. We have our orders. Recover the equipment. Evacuate any personnel. That's you, not them. Dae-hyun's jaw tightened. Then shoot me, because I'm not leaving them to die. The cub in the room made a small sound, like a whimper. It reached one small hand toward Dae-hyun. The engineer moved to it immediately, making soft sounds. The cub calmed. Hyun-woo watched this. He thought about protocols, about orders, about the mission. The Krellians were the enemy. They had killed thousands of humans. They had destroyed colonies. They had started this war, but these were children, cubs, babies. Captain, 2 kilometers now. Ji-won's voice was urgent. We need to move. Hyun-woo made a decision. Everyone upstairs, now. That includes you, Sergeant. I told you, that's an order. Hyun-woo cut him off. His voice was hard as steel. These creatures are not part of my squad. They're not my responsibility. You're coming with us. That's final. Dae-hyun looked at him. Then he looked at the cubs. The small Krellian had wrapped its tiny hands around his finger. Count again, Captain, Dae-hyun said softly. What? You said they're not your squad. Look at them. Count them. Then tell me they don't matter. The other cubs had come to their windows. 12 small faces. Watching, waiting, hoping. Hyun-woo felt something crack inside his chest. The cubs were so small, so helpless, left behind in the chaos of war. Captain, 1 kilometer, Ji-won said. Orders. Hyun-woo stood there, torn between duty and something else, something harder to name. His hand tightened on his weapon. The cubs watched him with huge, innocent eyes. He had to choose, and he had to choose now. Hyun-woo stared at the 12 small faces behind the glass. His mind raced through options. Every second brought the Krellian patrol closer. Every second made escape harder. But something kept him frozen in place, Captain. Minho's voice pulled him back. What are your orders? Hyunwoo turned to Daehyun. How long have you been taking care of them? 3 weeks, Daehyun replied. Since I came back. You came back? You escaped and came back? Daehyun nodded. I was with the last evacuation group. We got to the transport ships. Then I remembered what they left behind. The cubs. Everyone forgot about them in the panic. So I came back. That's desertion, Minho said sharply. That's being human. Daehyun shot back. Hyunwoo held up a hand for silence. He activated his radio. G1 status? 800 meters, Captain. They're moving fast, very fast. I think they detected our ship. Can you get us out if we leave now? Yes, but we need to move in the next 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Hyunwoo looked around the room. At the supplies Daehyun had organized. At the makeshift beds. At the careful way everything was arranged. This man had given up everything to protect enemy children. Show me all of them, Hyunwoo said. Daehyun moved quickly. He opened each door carefully. Each room held 1 or 2 cubs. They were different ages. The youngest looked like a baby. It could barely walk. The oldest was maybe 5 years old. It watched them with intelligent eyes. The cubs made sounds, small chirps and whistles. They moved toward Daehyun like he was their parent. Some grabbed his legs. Some reached up to be held. They trusted him completely. What do they eat? Hyunwoo asked. Nutrient paste mostly. Some vegetables. I've been using the station's remaining supplies, but I'll run out in another week. And then what? Daehyun's face was grim. Then I figure out something else. Captain, 600 meters, Jiwon called. I'm seeing multiple heat signatures. At least 10 Krelian soldiers, Taeyang shifted nervously. Sir, we need to decide. We can't fight 10 Krelians down here. We'll be trapped. He was right. The smart choice was clear. Leave the cubs. Take Daehyun by force if needed. Complete the mission. Survive. That was what soldiers did. Hyunwoo tried to contact command. His radio hissed with static. The interference was too strong. He was alone with this decision. No one could tell him what to do. No one could share the blame. Sir, Minho said quietly, I know what you're thinking, but we have protocols. These are enemy subjects. We can't, they're children, Sujin interrupted. She had been silent until now. I have a daughter. She's 4 years old, back on New Earth. If our positions were reversed, if she was trapped in an enemy facility, I would hope. I would pray that someone would be kind. That's different, Taeyang argued. She's human. Is it different? Sujin walked to one of the cubs, a small one with large eyes. It looked up at her curiously. This one is scared. Look at her. She's terrified, just like my daughter gets scared during storms. The cub reached a small hand toward Sujin, touched her boot gently. Hyunwoo felt his throat tighten. He thought about his own daughter. Mi-young, she was 7 now, safe on New Seoul Colony with her mother. He had not seen her in 8 months. He carried her picture in his uniform pocket. Every day he fought to make the universe safer for her. What kind of universe was he building? One where children were left to die because they were born to the wrong species? 400 meters, Captain. They'll be in visual range soon. Hyunwoo made his decision. Everyone listen. We're taking them. Silence. Complete silence, sir. Minho looked shocked. We're taking all of them. The cubs and Daehyun, everyone. Captain, that's against orders, Minho protested. We can't transport enemy subjects. The regulations are very clear. The regulations don't cover this situation. Sir, with respect, they do. Chapter 7, Section 3. Enemy subjects found in combat zones are to be left in place unless they have intelligence value. They're babies, Minho. Not subjects. They're Krelian babies, the same species that killed my brother. That destroyed the Meridian colony. That murdered 10,000 humans. Hyunwoo understood the anger in Minho's voice. Everyone had lost someone in this war. Everyone had reasons to hate the Krelians. But hate had to stop somewhere. It had to have a line. Your brother was a soldier, Hyunwoo said gently. These are children. There's a difference. 300 meters, Jiwon said. Captain, I need your decision now. I'm preparing for emergency takeoff. No, Hyunwoo said firmly. Hold position. We're bringing passengers. How many? 13. 12 cubs and 1 engineer. A long pause. Say again, Captain? I thought you said cubs. You heard correctly. Prepare the cargo hold. We need space for 12 Krelian children. Captain, this is crazy, Taeyang said. He looked pale. They'll court-martial us. All of us. Maybe, Hyunwoo agreed. But we'll be alive. And so will they. I won't do it, Taeyang said. He stepped back. I won't carry enemy creatures. I won't help them. You can order me to fight. You can order me to die. But you can't order me to betray humanity. Hyunwoo looked at the young private. Then you're relieved of duty. Stay with the ship. Captain, that's an order. You don't have to participate, but you won't stop us either. Taeyang's face flushed red, but he nodded and left. Hyunwoo turned to the others. Anyone else? Dongwoo spoke for the first time. I'll help. His voice was quiet but certain. Sujin nodded. Me too. Minho struggled with himself. Hyunwoo could see the war in his eyes. Finally, he sighed. You're making a mistake, Captain. But you're my commanding officer. I'll follow orders. Thank you, Hyunwoo said. He meant it. 200 meters, Jiwon reported. I can see them now. 10 soldiers. Heavy weapons. Captain, they're setting up firing positions. I think they know we're here. Daehyun moved quickly. We need carriers. Something to transport them safely. The storage room, Sujin said. I saw equipment containers. We can use those, they ran. Found 6 large containers. Emptied them. Daehyun lined them with thermal blankets from the medical supplies. Soft, warm, safe. 2 cubs per container, Daehyun directed. Pair the older ones with the younger ones. They'll keep each other calm. They worked fast. Each cub went into a container. Some cried. Some fought. The oldest one watched everything with suspicious eyes but allowed itself to be placed inside. Hyunwoo took 1 container. Inside were 2 small cubs. They looked up at him with huge eyes. One made a small sound, almost like a question. Are you going to hurt us? No, Hyunwoo whispered. I'm going to save you. 100 meters, Jiwon said. Her voice was tight with stress. They're advancing. Captain, we're out of time. Moving now, Hyunwoo replied. Open the cargo doors. They moved through the station. Up the stairs. 6 soldiers carrying 6 containers. Daehyun led the way. He knew the fastest route. Behind them they heard sounds. Krellian voices. Sharp. Commanding. The enemy was inside the building. They reached the ground floor. Ran toward the landing pad. The ship's engines were warming up. G1 had the cargo door open. One by one they loaded the containers. The youngest cub started crying. A high-pitched wail. It was scared. The sound carried across the empty station. Quiet it down, Minho hissed. They'll hear. Daehyun made soft sounds. Human sounds. A lullaby. Strange words. His grandmother had taught him the song long ago. The cub quieted slightly. Then the others started to calm too. Everyone aboard, Hyunwoo ordered. Jiwon, get us in the air. But before they could close the door, Krellian soldiers appeared. They came around the corner of the building. 10 warriors in battle armor, weapons raised. They saw the ship. They saw the humans, and they saw the containers with the cubs inside. One warrior froze. It was larger than the others. Probably the leader. It stared at the cubs, then at Hyunwoo. Then back at the cubs. Hyunwoo raised his weapon. The warrior raised its weapon. 2 soldiers. 2 enemies. Ready to kill each other. The cub cried again. The sound pierced the moment. The Krellian warrior's head snapped toward the sound. It saw the small hand reaching out from the container. Saw the human soldier protecting it. For 3 heartbeats, no one moved. Then the Krellian warrior lowered its weapon. Slowly. Deliberately. It said something in its language. Sharp sounds, commands. The other warriors lowered their weapons too. They stepped back, opening a path. Letting them go. Hyunwoo did not understand. But he was not going to waste the chance. Go, go, go! The ship lifted off. The door closed. And they were flying. Away from the station. Away from the warriors. Away from the battlefield. Inside the cargo hold, 12 cubs cried together. And 6 humans wondered what they had just done. The ship climbed through the atmosphere of Krell 7. Inside the cargo hold, chaos reigned. The 12 cubs cried and shrieked. The sudden movement terrified them. They did not understand what was happening. They only knew they were scared. Hyunwoo held onto a support rail as the ship shook. Beside him, Daehyun moved from container to container, trying to calm the cubs. His hands were gentle. His voice was soft. But there were 12 of them and only one of him. Jiwon status. Hyunwoo called into his radio. We're clear of the surface. No pursuit yet. But Captain, I'm picking up more contacts. Multiple Krellian ships in orbit. We have to be careful. Understood. Take us to the rendezvous point. Sujin knelt beside one of the containers. Inside, 2 small cubs huddled together. They shook with fear. She reached in slowly. Let them smell her hand. One cub sniffed. Then it grabbed her finger with its small hand. The grip was surprisingly strong. Hey there, Sujin whispered. It's okay. We're not going to hurt you. The cub looked at her. Its large eyes were wet. It made a sound. Like a question. Sujin did not understand the words, but she understood the meaning. Where are we going? Where is home? Somewhere safe, Sujin promised. I hope. Across the hold, Minho sat against the wall. He watched the cubs with a hard expression. His rifle lay across his lap. He had not put it down. Had not relaxed. Every muscle in his body was tense. Dongwoo sat near him. Quiet as always. He watched everything but said nothing. Taeyang had stayed in the cockpit with Jiwon. He refused to come into the cargo hold. Refused to look at the cubs, Hyunwoo understood. Everyone processed things differently. Everyone had their limits. He had pushed his team beyond normal orders, beyond normal reason. Some would accept it. Some would not. One cub cried louder than the others. The youngest, the baby. It wailed with the powerful lungs of an infant. The sound was piercing, painful. Daehyun picked it up carefully, held it against his chest, rocked it gently. The cub quieted slightly but still whimpered. It was hungry, or lonely, or both. Do you have food for them? Hyunwoo asked. Some, not enough for a long trip. I have maybe 2 days of supplies. How long until they need to eat? Soon they eat every few hours. Like human babies. Hyunwoo activated his radio. Jiwon, how long to the rendezvous? 4 hours at current speed. But Captain, I need to tell you something. I'm monitoring command channels. There's been chatter about us, about the mission. What kind of chatter? Command is asking for status updates. They want to know about the equipment recovery. And they're asking if we found any personnel. What did you tell them? Nothing yet. I said we were maintaining radio silence due to enemy activity. But I can't delay much longer. They'll start asking harder questions. Hyunwoo closed his eyes. The moment of truth was coming. When they arrived at the coalition base, they would have to explain. They would have to justify bringing 12 enemy children aboard a military vessel. He had broken protocol, violated orders, endangered his crew, all for 12 small lives that most people would say did not matter. Was it worth it? He looked at the cubs. They were calming down now, getting used to the movement. The oldest one watched him. Its eyes were intelligent, aware. It was old enough to understand some of what was happening, old enough to be afraid, old enough to remember kindness or cruelty. Yes, it was worth it. Tell command we had complications. We'll give a full report upon arrival. Understood, Captain. Daehyun set the baby cub back in its container. It immediately curled up with its companion. The 2 cubs wrapped around each other for comfort, warmth, safety. They do that, Daehyun explained. Bond with each other. In Krellian culture, cubs are raised in groups. They need physical contact. Need to feel others nearby. It's how they survive. You learned a lot in 3 weeks, Hyunwoo observed. I read everything in the research files. Everything the scientists recorded. The Krellians are not so different from us, not in the ways that matter. They started this war, did they? Daehyun looked at him. Or did we? I've read the reports. Both sides claim the other attacked first. Both sides say they're defending themselves. Maybe the truth is more complicated. My orders aren't complicated. Protect humanity. Defeat the enemy. And what are these? Daehyun gestured to the cubs. Are they the enemy? Before Hyunwoo could answer, alarms blared. Red lights flashed throughout the ship. Captain, we have a problem. Jiwon's voice was urgent. 3 Krellian fighters just entered scanner range. They're closing fast. Can we outrun them? Not with our current load. We're too heavy. Hyunwoo's mind raced. The containers, the cubs. They were slowing the ship down. If they jettisoned them, they could escape. Save the crew. Complete the original mission. All it would cost was 12 small lives. Prepare evasive maneuvers, Hyunwoo ordered, but maintain course. Captain, if they engage, we can't win. This is a transport, not a fighter. I know. Just fly, the ship lurched. Jiwon was pushing the engines hard. The cubs started crying again. The sudden movement scared them. Their small voices filled the cargo hold. "They're gaining," G1 reported. 2 minutes to weapons range. Minho stood up. Checked his rifle. "If they board us, we fight." "Against 3 fighters?" "We don't have weapons for that." "Then we'll use what we have." Hyunwoo appreciated the loyalty, but he knew they could not win a fight. Not against trained Krellian warriors. Not while protecting 12 cubs. The ship shook. Not from movement. From something else. A warning shot. "They're trying to get our attention," Ji-won said. "Should I stop?" "No, keep going. Captain, they're hailing us. They want to communicate. Ignore it." "Sir, with respect, maybe we should listen. Maybe they want to talk." Hyunwoo considered this. Why would Krellian fighters hail instead of shoot? They had the advantage. They could destroy the transport easily, so why wait? Put them through, he decided. Static filled the radio. Then a voice, speaking in broken human language. "Human ship. You carry cubs." "Krellian cubs. We scan cargo." Hyunwoo grabbed the radio. "This is Captain Hyunwoo. The cubs are under our protection." "Protection?" The Krellian voice sounded confused. "You are human. We are enemy." "Yes, but you protect our young." "Yes." Silence. Long silence. The fighters continued to pace them but did not fire. Then the voice spoke again. Why? It was a simple question. But the answer was complicated. Why had he done this? Why had he risked everything? His career, his crew, his life. Hyunwoo looked at the cubs. The baby was watching him. Its eyes were so large, so innocent. It did not know about war, did not know about sides or enemies or borders. It only knew that it was small and scared and needed help. "Because it was right," Hyunwoo said simply. More silence. The fighters continued to follow. Minutes passed. The tension was unbearable. Everyone waited for weapons fire. For the end, then the Krellian voice returned. "You will proceed to these coordinates." The ship's computer received a data package. "You will land. You will wait. What happens then?" Hyunwoo asked. "Our commander will meet you." "To see cubs." "To speak." "How do I know this isn't a trap?" "You do not. But you protect our cubs. This is sacred to us. More sacred than war. You will not be harmed. My word as warrior." Hyunwoo had to choose. Trust the enemy or run. He looked at his crew. At the cubs. At Daehyun, who had given up everything to protect them. "Send us the coordinates," Hyunwoo said. "We'll land." The fighters pulled back. Gave them space. But they continued to escort the transport. Guiding it. Not threatening now. "Something else, protective, Captain. Are you sure about this?" Minho asked quietly. "No, but I'm not sure about anything anymore. They flew for an hour." The coordinates led to a small moon, uninhabited, just rocks and ice. A neutral place. The transport landed in a shallow crater. The fighters landed nearby. Their weapons stayed closed. Through the viewport they watched. Krellian warriors emerged from the fighters. 5 of them, large, powerful, armed. They walked toward the transport, not attacking, just walking. One warrior was larger than the others, older. Scars covered its armor. This was a veteran, a leader. It stopped at the base of the transport and waited. Hyunwoo made a decision. "Open the cargo door, sir." Minho looked shocked. "Open it. Let them see. They could attack." "Could kill us all?" "Yes, they could." The door opened slowly. Cold air rushed in. The cubs cried out at the sudden chill. Daehyun moved quickly to cover them with blankets. The Krellian commander stepped forward. Looked inside. Saw the 12 containers. Saw the cubs. Its reaction was immediate. It made a sound. Not a war cry. Something else. Something soft. It moved toward the nearest container. Reached out one large hand. Touched the cub gently. The cub grabbed its finger. The commander's whole body seemed to soften. It looked at Hyunwoo. Then it did something unexpected. It placed its hand over its chest. A gesture of respect, of gratitude. "You saved them," the commander said in rough human language. "My people's cubs. You could have left them, could have killed them, but you saved them." "They needed help," Hyunwoo replied. "Yes, they did. And you helped. You, our enemy, helped our young." The commander stood tall. "This changes things. Changes everything. I must report to my leaders. Tell them what you did. They will want to speak with you." "With your leaders, maybe. Maybe there is another way. A way that is not war." "Maybe," Hyunwoo agreed. The commander looked at each cub, memorizing their faces. Then it stepped back. You will take them to their families. I will send coordinates, safe coordinates. We will not attack. You have my W. The transport ship drifted through space at half speed. Hyunwoo sat in the cockpit with Ji-won. Neither spoke for a long time. They simply watched the stars pass by. Both of them were trying to understand what had happened on that moon. I've never seen anything like that, Ji-won finally said. The way that commander looked at the cubs, like they were the most important things in the universe. Maybe they are, Hyunwoo replied quietly. To them. But we're at war. They've killed so many of us. And we've killed so many of them. How does that just stop because we saved some children? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't stop. Maybe this changes nothing. Or maybe, he paused, maybe this changes everything. In the cargo hold, Dae-hyun was feeding the cubs. He had mixed the nutrient paste with water. Made it soft. Easy to eat. The cubs crowded around him. They trusted him completely now. Saw him as their protector, their parent. The oldest cub, the one Dae-hyun called Tika, watched everything carefully. It was learning. Understanding. It could speak some words in its own language. Had tried to speak to Dae-hyun. They could not understand each other's words. But they understood meaning, intention, care. Sujin helped distribute the food. She had gotten over her initial fear. Now she handled the cubs with confidence. With gentleness. The smallest one, the baby, had bonded with her. It cried when she was not nearby. Calmed when she held it. You're good with them, Dae-hyun observed. I have practice. My daughter is 4. These cubs are not so different. They need food, sleep, love, same as human children. Most people would not see it that way. Most people have not held them, have not looked into their eyes. Sujin stroked the baby's head. It made a purring sound. It's easy to hate when the enemy is abstract, far away, but when they're small and scared and looking to you for help, that's different. Across the hold, Minho sat alone. He still had not approached the cubs, still kept his distance, but his expression had changed. The anger was fading, being replaced by something else, confusion, doubt. Dongwoo sat beside him. As usual, he said nothing, just sat. Present but quiet. I don't understand, Minho finally said. My brother. He was killed in the Battle of Arcturus Station. Krellian warriors boarded his ship. They showed no mercy. They killed everyone, even the wounded. Even the ones who surrendered. His voice was thick with old pain. So how am I supposed to look at these cubs and not see the enemy? Dongwoo considered this. When he spoke, his voice was soft, thoughtful. Your brother fought warriors, adult soldiers. These are children. Can you really hold children responsible for what adults do? They'll grow up, become warriors. Maybe one of them will kill humans someday. Maybe. Or maybe they'll remember. Remember that humans saved them, protected them. Maybe they'll become the ones who want peace. Dongwoo looked at the cubs. We can't control what they become, but we can control what we show them now. Minho did not respond, but he looked at the cubs. Really looked at them. Saw how small they were, how vulnerable, how much they depended on the humans around them. The ship's radio crackled. Captain, I'm getting a transmission. Krellian source. Encrypted, but they're using human protocols. Put it through. A new voice came over the radio, smoother than Commander Velthor's, more fluent in human language. Captain Hyunwoo, I am Diplomat Korvan. Commander Velthor has informed our government of your actions, of the cubs you saved. This is unexpected. I did what I thought was right, Hyunwoo replied. Right. Yes. That is an interesting word. We have fought your species for 5 years. 5 long years of death, destruction. Both sides have lost much. We thought we understood humans. Thought you were without honor, without mercy. But perhaps we were wrong. What do you want, diplomat? My government wishes to speak with you. And with your government. About the cubs. About what their rescue means. About what might be possible. Are you talking about peace? A pause. I am talking about talking. That is where peace begins, with words instead of weapons. Hyunwoo felt his heart beat faster. This was bigger than he had imagined. Bigger than 12 cubs. This was about the entire war. I'm just a captain. I don't have authority to negotiate. But you have something more valuable. You have proof that humans can show mercy, can value life over victory. This matters to us, matters deeply. In Krellian culture, the protection of young is sacred. It is our highest law, Our most important duty. You, an enemy, fulfilled this duty when our own warriors could not. This creates obligation, respect, a way forward. I'm sending you coordinates, Korvan continued. A location where you can safely deliver the cubs to their families, and where representatives from both our governments can meet. To talk, just talk. Will you come? Hyunwoo looked at his crew. At Daehyun caring for the cubs. At Sujin holding the baby. At Minho struggling with his emotions. At Dongwoo watching everything with quiet wisdom. At Jiwon waiting for orders. Yes, Hyunwoo said. We'll come. The coordinates appeared on the navigation computer. A space station. In neutral territory. Equidistant from both human and Krellian space. A place for meetings. For diplomacy. For hope. Thank you, Captain. Velthor spoke truly. You are a human with honor. We will see you soon. The transmission ended. Jiwon plotted the course. 3 days at current speed. Captain, are we really doing this? Are we really going to try for peace? We're going to try, Hyunwoo confirmed. Whether we succeed is another question. He activated his own communication system. Time to contact Coalition Command. Time to explain what he had done. Time to face the consequences. The connection took a few minutes to establish. When it came through, Admiral Park's face appeared on the screen. She looked stern, unhappy. Captain Hyunwoo, you missed 3 scheduled check-ins. Your explanation had better be good. Hyunwoo took a breath. Admiral, I have recovered the classified equipment from the research station. I have also rescued 1 human engineer who was left behind during the evacuation. Additionally, I have complications. What kind of complications? I have 12 Krellian cubs aboard my ship. Orphans. I am transporting them to their families as part of a possible diplomatic contact. Silence. Complete silence. Admiral Park stared at him like he had grown a second head. Say that again, Hyunwoo explained. Everything, the abandoned station. Daehyun and his impossible choice. The decision to take the cubs. The encounter with Krellian fighters. Commander Velthor and his reaction. The diplomatic contact. The invitation to meet. Admiral Park listened to it all without interrupting. Her face showed nothing. When he finished, she sat back in her chair, rubbed her temples. Captain, you have violated approximately 47 regulations. Maybe more. I'll have to check with legal. Yes, Admiral. I know. You transported enemy subjects without authorization. You engaged in unauthorized communication with enemy forces. You deviated from your mission parameters. You endangered your crew. Should I continue? No, Admiral. And yet, she paused. And yet you may have just created the first real opportunity for peace in 5 years. She leaned forward. The Krellian government has already contacted us, sent a formal communication through back channels we didn't even know existed. They want to talk. Actually talk. And they're using your actions as justification, as proof that negotiation is possible. What does Command want me to do? Command wants you to proceed to the station. With the cubs. We're sending diplomatic personnel to meet you there. This has gone above my authority, above most people's authority. The council is involved. The president is involved. This is big, Captain. Very big. I just wanted to save some children, Admiral. I know, and somehow that simple act might save thousands more lives. Millions, if this works. If peace is actually possible. She smiled slightly. You're either going to be court-martialed or given a medal. Possibly both. Time will tell. The transmission ended. Hyunwoo sat there, feeling the weight of what he had set in motion. He had broken the rules, followed his conscience instead of orders, and somehow, impossibly, it might actually matter. The journey to the station took 3 days. The cubs settled into a routine. They ate, slept, played with each other, began to trust the humans more. Even Minho eventually approached them. Let one of the smaller cubs touch his hand. The cub had grabbed on tight, chirped happily, and something in Minho's face had softened. Not forgiveness, not yet, but the beginning of understanding. Taeyang remained distant. He did his duties but avoided the cargo hold. Some wounds were too deep, some hurts too fresh. Hyunwoo did not force it. Everyone had to find their own way. On the 3rd day they approached the station. It was enormous, a massive structure hanging in space, built by the Interstellar Union back before the war. Abandoned when the fighting started, now being reopened, for a chance. Dozens of ships were already there, human ships, Krellian ships, all maintaining careful distance, all watching each other warily. But no one was shooting. That was something. "This is Captain Hyunwoo requesting docking clearance," Jiwon transmitted. "Clearance granted, Captain. Bay 7. Welcome to Hope Station." "That's what we're calling it now. Hope Station." It seemed appropriate. They docked carefully. The station's docking collar sealed around the airlock. Atmosphere equalized. The due. 6 months passed. The negotiations continued at Hope Station. Sometimes they went well. Sometimes they collapsed. But they continued. That was the important thing. People kept talking. Kept trying. The shooting had stopped in 3 sectors. Prisoner exchanges had begun. Trade routes were being discussed. It was slow, painful, but it was progress. Captain Hyunwoo stood before a military tribunal. The room was cold, formal. 7 officers sat behind a long table. They had reviewed his case for 2 weeks, examined every decision, every action, every violation of protocol. The charges were serious. Unauthorized rescue of enemy subjects, deviation from mission parameters, endangerment of coalition personnel, unauthorized diplomatic contact. The list went on. Each charge could mean discharge, prison time, the end of his career. The head of the tribunal, General Cho, looked at him with an unreadable expression. "Captain Hyunwoo, you have been accused of multiple violations of military law. How do you plead?" "Guilty, sir. To all charges. I broke regulations. I accept responsibility. You accept responsibility. That is good. But do you regret your actions?" Hyunwoo considered this. Did he regret it? His career was over. His reputation damaged. Some people called him a traitor. Others called him a hero. He did not feel like either. He felt like a man who had made a choice. "No, sir. I do not regret it." General Cho leaned forward. "Even knowing the consequences? Even knowing you violated the oaths you swore?" "Sir, I swore to protect humanity. To defend what we stand for." "What do we stand for if not compassion? If not mercy? If we leave children to die because they were born to the wrong species, what makes us better than the enemy? The enemy started this war, did they?" "Sir, with respect, I have read the historical records. Both sides claim the other fired first. Both sides have reasons. Both sides have grievances. But those 12 cubs did not start anything. They were just children, caught in something they did not create and could not control. Your actions endangered your crew." "Yes, sir. And I would do it again." Silence filled the room. The officers looked at each other. Some seemed angry. Some seemed thoughtful. General Cho's expression remained neutral. "This tribunal has reached a decision. Captain Hyunwoo, stand and receive judgment." Hyunwoo stood, straight, proud. Whatever came next, he had no regrets. He had saved 12 lives. Started a peace process. That mattered more than rank. More than career. "You are found guilty of all charges. This is undeniable. You broke regulations, violated orders, however." General Cho paused. "However, the circumstances were extraordinary. Your actions, while technically illegal, resulted in the first meaningful peace talks in 5 years. The Krellian government has made it clear that further negotiations depend partially on goodwill generated by your actions. Therefore, this tribunal rules as follows. You will receive a formal reprimand in your record. You will be suspended from active duty for 6 months. But you will not be discharged. You will not face prison. And when you return to duty, you will be promoted to major. For courage, for initiative, for reminding us what it means to be human." Hyunwoo stood there stunned. "Sir, I don't understand." "I broke the rules. Sometimes the rules are wrong," General Cho said quietly. "Sometimes we need people brave enough to recognize that." "You are dismissed, Major Hyunwoo. Use your suspension wisely." Hyunwoo left the tribunal room in a daze. Outside, his crew was waiting. All of them, Jiwon, Minho, Sujin, Dongwoo, even Taeyang. They had come to support him. To stand with him. How did it go? Jiwon asked nervously. Guilty, reprimand, suspension, then promotion. They stared at him. Then they started laughing. The stress, the fear, all of it poured out. They laughed until tears came. Until strangers looked at them strangely. Dae-hyun was there too. He had received similar judgment, reprimand for desertion, but also a medal for exceptional humanitarian service. The military did not know what to do with people who broke rules for good reasons. So they did both. Punishment and reward. What will you do now? Hyunwoo asked him. I've been asked to join the diplomatic team, as a cultural liaison. The Krellians trust me. The cubs remember me. I can help with understanding. With communication, Daehyun smiled. Never thought my career would go this direction. But I'm glad it did. The group walked through the station together. They passed areas where humans and Krellians worked side by side now. Still awkward. Still uncertain. But working, trying, it was strange to see. The enemy was just people, different people. But people. They reached a viewing area. Large windows looked out on space. Ships came and went. Human and Krellian, not fighting. Trading, talking, living. Do you think it will last? Sujin asked. The peace? I don't know, Hyunwoo admitted. Maybe, maybe not. Peace is harder than war, requires constant work, constant choice. But it's worth trying for. My daughter asks about the cubs, Sujin said softly. I told her the story. About what we did. She wants to meet them someday. Wants to play with Krellian children, like it's the most natural thing in the world. Maybe it should be, Dongwoo said. Maybe children understand something we forgot. That differences don't have to mean enemies. Minho had been quiet. Now he spoke. I went to visit the cubs. 2 weeks ago. Found their families. Met them, he paused. The one I carried. The small one. Its name is Kess. Its parents named their next child after my brother. To honor the human who saved their first child. They did not know they were connected. But when I told them, they wept. Said they were sorry for my loss. Said they never wanted this war either. His voice broke slightly. I spent so long hating them. All of them. And they were just people. People who lost family too. People who hurt too. Does it still hurt? Sujin asked gently. Yes. Always. But now the hate hurts less. I don't know if that makes sense. It makes sense, Hyunwoo said. Hate is exhausting. Forgiveness, understanding, those are easier to carry. They stood there together. 6 humans who had done something impossible. Something that should not have mattered. A small thing. Rescuing 12 cubs. But small things rippled. Created waves. Changed currents. A young Krellian approached them. Not a cub anymore. Older. It took Hyunwoo a moment to recognize Tika, the oldest cub. It had grown. Changed. But the eyes were the same. Intelligent. Aware. Tika spoke through a translator device. Captain Hyunwoo, I wanted to thank you again for what you did. You and your squad. They weren't my squad, Hyunwoo said softly. That's what I told Daehyun. That you cubs weren't part of my squad, weren't my responsibility. But you saved us anyway. Yes. Why? Hyunwoo looked at the young Krellian. Thought about that day? The choice. The moment. Because you needed help. And I could give it. That's reason enough. Tika nodded slowly. I study human history now. Human culture. I will be a diplomat. Like Korvan. I will work for peace. So what you did, what you risked, it will not be wasted. I promise you this. You don't owe me anything. I owe you everything. You and Daehyun and all who helped. You gave us life. Gave us future. I will use that gift well. Tika left. Hyunwoo watched it go, saw the future diplomat. The future leader. A bridge between species. Born from one choice. One moment of compassion. Do you regret telling me they weren't your squad? Daehyun asked. He had been silent until now. Hyunwoo turned to him. Remembered that moment. In the lower level. The cubs behind glass. Daehyun standing with them. Ready to die for them. Yes, I regret those words. Because I was wrong. Wrong how? You told me to count again. To really look at them. To see them, I did. And I realized. The moment we chose to help them. The moment we decided their lives mattered. They became part of our squad. Part of our responsibility. Part of our family. Not because of species. Not because of sides, but because we chose to care. That's a dangerous way to think, Minho said. If everyone we help becomes our responsibility, our squad, that's a lot of people. Yes, Hyunwoo agreed. It is, but maybe that's how it should be. Maybe our squad, our family, our responsibility. Maybe it should be bigger than we thought. As big as we can make it? Sujin smiled. My daughter would like that. She thinks everyone should be friends. Says it's silly to fight. Your daughter is wise. They stood together, looking out at the stars, at the ships, at the future being built, one conversation at a time, one choice at a time, One act of compassion at a time. Months became years. The peace talks resulted in a treaty. Not perfect, full of compromises, but it held. The shooting stopped. The dying stopped. Trade began. Cultural exchanges. Slowly, carefully, humans and Krellians learned about each other, learned to see each other as people. Not everyone accepted it. Some humans still hated Krellians. Some Krellians still hated humans. Old wounds healed slowly. Some never healed at all. But the hate was less. The violence was less. And that was progress. Hyunwoo, now Major Hyunwoo, visited Daehyun at the diplomatic complex. 5 years had passed since that day on Krell 7. Daehyun had become the chief cultural liaison. He worked with Krellian families, helped with integration programs, taught humans about Krellian culture and Krellians about human culture. They sat in his office, watching news feeds. Human and Krellian children playing together in a joint colony, learning together, growing together. The future, we did that, Daehyun said quietly. Not just us, but we started it. One small choice, 12 small lives. And now look,